Close that window. All right. All right. I feel better. It's always something. All I can do is smile and laugh, right? Trying to make progress in all these avenues. Like I've moved my camera now that I'm looking right at. Is right behind it is a monitor where I'm seeing three screens, and I get my fancy doodads to make all this better, and it does get better, but it does take time. And so I'm not going to apologize. It's just the nature of trying to grow and making improvements. But okay, so much for that. We got the sound fixed. Let's move along. What are we up to today? We are going to return, and then cast the piece that I have stabilized. That piece of maple, which I'm certain that I brought it over here. Yeah, it's over there. Of course, like last minute, it got stuck over there. So I'm going to. Which camera are you looking at anyway? You should be seeing that. Okay, you're seeing that one. Let me jump you to that one for the moment. Let's see. Let me jump. No, not that one. Let's go to that one. I'm waiting to see the delay. I get it figured out yet. Red is where you're supposed to be. There you go. And it's gonna probably change, but I'll be right back. I'm just going over here. Gotta get some goodies. I do love my job, even if it's not perfect every time. That's okay. I can deal with it. You know, it comes with the territory. And they call this live for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So that shows up there. I'm just watching the delay trying to figure some of this out. Okay. So you'll see shortly. There you go. I know the delay. I'm going to watch over there what's going on. So this is the piece that I have stabilized and used an experimental dye to put the red in it. And this is what we're going to fill all these voids and whatnot in here with the resin today. Now, let's see here. I'm going to switch back over to the front camera. There we go. One of the things about this piece, right now it's, probably an inch thick, something like that. Somewhere in and around an inch. Now, I'd like to have it be maybe 3/8 of an inch when it's finished. Not super thin and not super thick. So I want to return this today and take some more mass out of it. Now, one of the things that's important, and I don't know if I may have to change overhead, but these big wormholes, it's full of big giant wormholes. And that's what I want to fill. And I've got two choices on how to go about this. I could use the gel resin and I could pack each and every hole, or I can submerge the piece. So I'm going to wait to make that choice until after I turn it a little bit. I'm not 100% sure both ways would work. Submerging it does it all at once, in theory. Packing all the holes with a gel resin, it's the same resin but in a gel format, is more tedious, but you don't cover any of the rest of the piece. Again, I'm going to return the whole piece after the resin, whichever way I go, so I'm not worried about it being covered in resin. So I'm going to set up here. I've got a piece still in here I got to take out. I'm going to show you this piece too. I got to take this piece out. I'm going to get this set up to return. I'm going to take about half of its thickness out, so I'll probably take it down to, I don't know, 5/8, somewhere in there. A little bit more than what, leaving some, so I can return it again. And then I'll see what kind of holes I have left in the piece. So, that being said, this is this piece I've been messing with for a long time. The piece that has the easy inlay. And I'm going to turn to number 2 and zoom in for you just a little bit. Because I want you to see the grain in this. I don't know if you saw the pictures during the week or not. And I'm going to show you the profile. I changed the profile on this. So I'm going to go this way. Figure out how to do this right side up, upside down. So that's what I did to the top profile. I made a big change. I haven't messed with the bottom yet at all. But when I did that, now, let me think upside down and backwards, you can see how these grain patterns are running. I'm on the wrong side. I should use my thumb. Here we go. Let's just do this. There. How they run up and down the wall of the piece now. It's kind of interesting. So I'm still in this debate on what to do with the colors, what color to dye it, if you know what I mean. Hey, let's see. Jerry's in here. Jerry, I was off to a rough start with my sound this morning, buddy, but we'll get it. Dick's asking, how deep does the color go? That's a good question. Looking at the piece, I see, and we should be over there now, yeah. Looking at the piece, I see that the inside is pretty red, whereas the bottom didn't get nearly as much color. So I don't know how deep it's going to go. That's why we're going to turn it a little bit and see what's going on. I got this wire in the way today. It's just one of those days. I can't read the board. Good morning, Tim Thomas. So let's see how deep this does go. Let me get this guy out of the way. I may play with this, and it's going to be a goofy day because I'm going to have to move my table out here after a bit. So let's put this over here somewhere. And what do we got for our tenon on here? We got 3.5. So we need to change our jaws. It is so humid today, even though it cooled off recently. It is so humid. The chuck is a different color. I had to take a heat gun and warm up the lenses on all the cameras. All the cameras had moisture on the inside of the lens, not on the outside, but on the inside, and so everything was a fog. It looked like I was in a fog bank, and actually I was quite well awake, so I wasn't foggy in myself. And I went, so this is a good way to start off the morning, where all the camera lenses are full of moisture. You know, I don't know. I'm just, you get up and you go with it. And I went into Bridget. I said, all my cameras are all fogged up. You know, and what if they don't clear, and all that stuff. Okay, so that didn't warp that much. So after the last time we were here, when we put this in the stabilizing chamber and pulled the vacuum on it, and we wrapped up, I did that on and off for a week. Over in the shop, I would go by, bleed off the air, switch the piece around, turn the vacuum back on, pull it back up to full vacuum, and I let it sit in there for a week, week and a half. I lost last week because we had no internet. That was a whole nother deal. We won't even go there. Then I put it in the oven. I put it in a little toaster oven, and I cooked it for about 2.5 hours at 200 degrees. Now, I think the rule of thumb is about an hour per inch in square blanks. I'm not 100% sure. What happens if we don't cook it long enough? In theory, the resin that did soak all the way into the inside would not be cured, and that would be a bad thing. So we're going to find out if it cured or not. I have read that if you put it in the oven, and this is one I don't understand, but I'm not going to dispute it. If you put one of these resin pieces, stabilizing resin pieces, in the oven, and you heat it for X period of time, and you take it out, and the resin didn't completely cure, if you put it back in, it won't finish curing. And I haven't quite got that figured out. To use the phrase, I don't have my head around that yet. How can putting it back in not finish curing it? But if that's the facts, then that's the facts. I'd like to kind of do a little test on that myself and find out for real, because there's a lot of things on the internet now. It comes from a reliable source, so I don't know 100%, but we'll find out. But what surprises me is that cooking this again at 200 degrees in the oven, it hasn't moved. Now, I cooked it before we stabilized it as well. So it did move. It warped. It was super dry. So in theory, it shouldn't have moved anyway. And then it went right into the stabilizing resin and hasn't picked up any moisture theoretically. So we'll see about that. This is, like I say, this is a test die that I have on here. So I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this camera that you're not seeing yet in a little bit closer so that you can see that. I'm working on the side camera here. You can probably see that I'm working on that camera. But this way you don't have to see it jiggle all around. There we go. Alright. So if I go over there, that should be a good looking shot now. Okay. And let me work on this overhead camera again. And get it back where it needs to be. Somebody's calling me on the phone. Good luck. I'm a little busy right now. Let's leave that down there like that. Right in there. Okay. So, you can see the colors. Let's see. Why does that look kind of fuzzy down there? I kept my hair dryer out here in case the camera got fuzzy. Maybe it's just the fuzz. All right, let's see. Jerry's driving while listening to you. That's definitely dedication. You're the man, Jerry. Hey, Peter Brown's here. Welcome to Monday morning, Peter. I actually finally made it after last week's debacle. Hopefully we're gonna have we're gonna have some fun this morning and get this guy turned. So the colors on this right now look really nice. Now I've got a feeling that they're not going to stay. I don't think I got the penetration that I was hoping for with my test die, but hey, it was free. It was a test. I can't complain. You know, we'll see what happens. Now, I didn't test one thing, but we'll find out in time. I'm pretty sure it's going to work. This is going to get in the pressure pot either way. I didn't test the bowl that it's going to go in to see if the bowl goes into pressure pot. All right, so let's go back over here. And what are we going to work with? Easy wood tools. I got everything here. Again, I'm not trying to make a super fancy finish on this. I just want to get it cut down to a smaller size, and curious to see what the colors inside look like. So let's see what my mask looks like today. Haven't looked at it in a week. It's kind of messy. Let's see where my cleaner is. I bet it's over here. He says, there's his easy eye. One of these days, famous last words, get everything all cleaned up, straightened up. I didn't even attempt to put the remote on the system today. I can run the cameras from an iPad as a remote. I had all I could do to get up and running, it seemed like, so I decided that would be asking myself too much of myself on this Monday morning. But hey, at least it's cool here now. It's not 100 degrees anymore. It was actually like 56 degrees in Metter, Georgia the other day. I thought, what a wonderful thing. Now it's going to be 80s or something today, mid 80s. But we're getting there. It's getting better all the time. All right. I think I can see out of that. Let's jump over here and see if there's any fresh questions. All right, looking good. Tool of choice for the morning. I think we'll just use the finisher, Easy Wood finisher, the round cutter for that. And I believe I'll switch you back over to number 3. And we'll take a little bit of turn on this and see how it goes. Even with all the craziness when I'm first trying to get this stuff going in the mornings out here and things aren't working like they're supposed to,
I know I say this all the time, but I really mean it. I'm having fun, you know? I'm having a good time. And fire that guy up. If you turn your lathe on, Bradley, that would be good. There we go. Alrighty. We got lights going, we got cameras going, we got safety mask on. We got a tool in our hand. We got acorns hitting the roof from the oak trees. So it looks like the color only stayed on the outside of it. Interesting. You just never know. I'm going to get some of the liquid dyes next. Spydercraft will be selling them as soon as I get them and get them in stock. But I wanted to try something that I had around first while I was getting to that point. You know, if I lose the color, that's okay. There's a ton of natural color in this anyway, so I'm not worried about that. I mean, this thing is so spalted up and ambrosia and spalting that I'm not worried about. If I lose the red that I put on it, it's okay. And let's see, let's make another pass across here. We turn the speed up a little bit now. There's no doubt it's dusty working with this stabilizer in it. So be it. Yeah, this thing has lots of beautiful color. I got stuff all over me. Alright, so I'm going to switch over and I'm going to turn the back, give it a clean up, and then I lost, it may be in here, I was looking for my Play-Doh this morning. This idea on how to save my tenon for the way I want. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let me go overhead here for you. And I'll clean up this backside. It'll be a little noisy because it's got more voids in it. But we'll get this cleaned up. This really is a test piece, you know, for me to test some of my theories and whatnot. Some of these holes go way down in there. So I asked questions over last week of what color I should fill the holes. And I got a variety of colors, suggestions: turquoise, black, gold. And black and gold were the two biggest ones, that were the most popular, if you will. Now, I don't see Art in here this morning. Art Miller, he said some kind of a mixture color, turquoise or something he was making up. He's having fun with me. Now, I don't know, let's see if you can see. right there, that hole, if I turn a bit more, this hole will go all the way through. So that could be pretty cool. We'll have, and same thing with this hole right here. Depending on how thin I make this wall, I can have those holes go all the way through to the inside. So whatever color we use will pass to the inside of the bowl from the outside. But that backside is cleaned up. I'm going to change this shape right here just a little bit. I don't really, I'm gonna submerge the bowl, but I don't, at the moment, I say I'm gonna submerge it. I don't think I'm gonna pack the holes by hand. I don't want to have the whole bowl, I'm gonna turn the resin away, even though I'm gonna have some excess just from I don't have a perfectly matching bowl. But that's what I want to do, but I want to have a good shape before I do that. So I'm going to fix this profile right here, and I can make it anything I want, but I'm just trying to make it simple and smooth right now with a nice transition. That edge had a kind of a hump to it. Okay. Alright, so let's leave that alone. This is a pretty piece of wood. I know some people, they used to say it to me when I was selling at the art and craft shows, how can you possibly color a beautiful piece of wood, put color on it? And my response was, being a smart aleck as usual, was with a paintbrush. I put color on with a paintbrush. It's not hard. I don't do all the wood in colors, I just do some. So now we're going to go back here into the inside, and I'll get my calipers. I'm going to change it back over to the end camera. Nope, that's overhead. End camera there. And we'll take the inside out to the point we want to get to. So let's see where we're at in the caliper world. So it looks like even my calipers are sticky around here. Welcome to South Georgia. We're about 3/4 of an inch, a little thicker right there, maybe an inch right at the very base. Okay, so I want to take about 1/4 of that out, I do believe. Alright. Come right on in here. So we're turning right at 1,000. Nothing crazy. So I'm kind of setting the thickness now, so I'll take that much away. This will be my rim thickness. My wall thickness. You know what? I know it'll get a little muffly, but this stuff is really dusty. I'm going to throw on my mask really quick so I'm not breathing this stuff. It'll take but a second just for this inside turn. Let me get the microphone outside the mask. Otherwise it'll make all kinds of crazy noises on you. Sorry for any rustling you might be hearing. Gotta take care of the lungs. They're the only set I got. I've breathed way too many things. Boy, I'm looking at the picture over on the big screen. There's a big monitor to my left as well. That is a pretty piece of wood. So you can see here this difference that I'm taking away. Okay. Oh, forgot to put my mask back on. All right. Yeah, Peter, wood does grow on trees, doesn't it? I'm not wasting too much. I'm repurposing it into mulch for the flower beds and walkways. That's some noisy stuff, that's for sure. Oh, my tool rest went down just a little bit. Alright, so I opened up some holes, some new holes that we hadn't had here before. So that's good. I really want to make... where were those two holes I was looking at? That hole. I'd like to open up that hole right there. It's kind of a goal. I may do that. Dusty, dusty, dusty. Hope you can still hear me with the mask on. Alright, so I'm working to see if I can just get these holes right here to open up. There we go. I'm a happy camper now. If you want to know what I mean. We now have... we made it through, all the way through the piece. So we have a hole that'll fill. The resin, whatever resin goes in there will... and I'm going to end up filling this inside full of resin to get that to fill. And so that's okay, because it will come back and turn it away. That's kind of part of the process that I wanted to do today. Okay? So that made me very happy. This one's just starting to open up, so I'm going to turn a little bit more. Boy, that one's not far from it. That one's starting to open up. Okay, I think we're going to have several full tunnels through here. Which is... if I sound excited, I am, because I really kind of wanted that to happen. It was one of my goals in this piece. So just like you would normally, I'm working my way down in steps and I'm leaving the bottom thicker. So there I'm through, there I'm through. That one's not going to go all the way through. That one's all the way through nicely. Okay, so my thickness for the first inch now is right about a half, maybe a little less than a half an inch. I went a little thinner than I had originally anticipated just to get those holes to open up. But all I'll have to do is turn the resin away. Alright. We're going to continue on in here. Let me check for any questions over here. I'm reading Peter. Peter, I'm reading your thing here through my mask. Snarky comebacks are folks who give you trouble about trying new things like coloring wood. Yeah. Have you noticed, Peter? I really don't worry about those people too much. I don't worry about a whole lot of what a lot of people say. I didn't ask them to tell me what to do. So I'm working from, I'm finished from here, the top to here. Now I'm working from, say, here to here. That section right there. Working my way down the stages. I'm wondering if I have a wrench handy. I probably don't. I'd like to rotate that cutter. Let's try a different one. That one may be getting a little dull. Let's see if this one's any fresher. People always ask with the carbide tools, how do you know when they're dull? And my honest but seems smart alecky remark is they don't work as well as they used to. Then it's time to either turn them or change them. And I'm just kind of looking over the back. Let me take this watch off. It's sticking to the tool rest. Get that out of the way. I just kind of look over the back, and then I'll use my fingers before we put the... Got a hump right here before we put the calipers on it. That hump is kind of hard. Whatever it is, for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe there's something else in the tree that I never saw. Or maybe it's just the way the grain is. But it is pretty. It is pretty. We're going to have lots of holes that get color in them. Or get resin in them. Alright, a little bit more down in through here. Alright, that's a little bit thicker still, but we opened up another hole, which is cool, right down here in the bottom, right down in that hole that just freshly opened up. And I'm really beating on these cutters. Let me see here, because I don't know where my tool is at the moment. Let's see if we can abuse the bowl gouge. I'm not really that particular. Some kind of hard. Of course, I didn't sharpen this either. That's pretty amazing. Of course, I can't see out of my mask at the moment. Alright, one tool doesn't work. Let's try another one. We got lots. We got lots over here to choose from. Question is, which one is sharp? Dirty, but maybe sharp. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and stop and defog here for a second, because I can't see. Trying to turn when you are in the fog is not the greatest thing in the world. Let's stop that for a second. We can take a look at it anyway. I definitely think that the resin cured all the way through. I'll change that camera over while I'm drying this mask off. I definitely think the resin cured all the way through. No softness at all. Matter of fact, it's hard as a rock down in there. And while I'm stopped here for a moment, let me look over here and see if I happen to have a wrench handy. I do. I'm gonna put on a fresh cutter over here. If I have what I'm looking for. There's what I want. I'm going to change out to a fresh CI3 carbide to make sure we have the sharpest thing going. Alright. I've lost... I'm not going to take that off. We won't be here long. There we go. So I've lost my ice pick. Well, I haven't lost it. I've just misplaced it. I don't know where my ice pick is for cleaning things out. But we'll get this fresh on here, and we'll be good to go. Hello, Erica. Glad you could join us this morning. We're having fun. We're making a mess. That's my favorite way to go. I always have trouble with the screw in the bottom of the bag. I always do try and use a fresh screw though. Especially with the wet wood and the humidity around here, the screw can actually rust into your Easy Wood tool and make it stick. You should wax them or grease them before you put them in optimally. There we go. But I change them so much I usually don't worry with it. But now we know that we'll have a nice fresh cutter on here, because this is actually acting like it's really hard. And we know that the maple wasn't really hard, it was really soft. I mean, that's beautiful colors in there. And so, worry not that the colors, the natural colors are going to go away, because even though I'm going to soak or submerge this guy in resin, and because I think, like I said, I don't think I want to get in there. I don't want to spend the time mixing the gel and poking it in each hole. Dropped my wrench into the sawdust. We'll turn all the resin away except for what's in the voids. So it will be right there. All the black and all the striations that you see in that wood now will be back, but these holes will be filled. And my initial thought, I brought black and some gold kind of colors to work with. So I think that's what we'll work with today for this. Alright, let's see if this makes a difference or not. Enough of me babbling. Let me go back to number 3 for you. My mask is dried out. Alright. So this piece of wood wouldn't be this pretty if I hadn't let it sit out there and basically rot. Alright, I'm going to check this with the calipers so I can feel we're still a little thick right there. We're good there. Actually a little thinner than I wanted, but that's alright. I can live with that. Alright, take the middle out of this guy. Tool rest up just a fuzz. Alrighty, go, and let's take this away. Yep, fresh cutter makes quick work of that stuff. Alright, I got a little hump right in here. Boy, that is such a pretty piece of wood. Such a pretty piece of wood. I'm good right there. I just need to take that. I'm low, you know, I'm fine right here, and I'm fine right here, but I have a ridge right in here. That's the hardest spot. There's something about that area in this piece of wood that is really hard. Alrighty. Now just a couple more passes through there. Don't want to take too much out. And I'm all fogged up again anyway. Alright, enough of that. Enough of that noise, as they say.
Get out of the dust mask muffler. Good deal. Beautiful, beautiful piece of wood. Okay. Let's take her out of the chuck. And let me go to one. Dusty. Dusty, dusty. Didn't expect it to be that dusty. But you never know. So, there we go. Let me hit you on the overhead. And you'll see what we look like. You can see we didn't do anything here. Now I've got this special plan if I can find my Play-Doh for the tenon, because I don't want to lose that tenon. Now, yes, as we're talking about, you know, colors and all, it would be a beautiful piece of wood just to put a finish on. And essentially, like I said, we're going to fill the holes, and we're going to leave these other colors. Okay? Trying to give you an idea, and I can't quite get that down far enough. All right? So, let's go back over here to one. All right, what am I up to? Let's get this chuck out of the way. I need to move the lathe out of the way. Boy. And get my little work table out here and get set up for that. I don't have enough room. In this room, it's only 14 by 16 to have the work table and the lathe all occupy the same space. Overhead is all the lights and the camera and everything else. So what I need to do is slide this lathe back and bring my little work table over, and we'll get going from there. And it's not on wheels, so I just have to slide it, which is not a big deal by any means. But that's what we'll do. Hey, Mr. Dixon. Good to see you. Very dry. Yeah, it's way dry, Doug. And full of stabilizing resin. And very dusty. I had no idea, quite honestly, it's going to be so dusty. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a couple things out of the way here. Well, you guys can just watch me walk around. Let me move this. Let me go to... let me go there. You don't need to see all the moving around. Get this chair out of the way. When you're a one-man operation in a small studio, sometimes you just have to make adjustments. And we don't need the lathe plugged in now. So we'll unplug that so we can move its power source. This is a good time if anybody's got questions while I'm changing things around. Put them in the column there, and I'll jump on them when I get there. So you're going to see this thing move now. or very shortly. I filled all my stuff with dust over here. Like I said, I really didn't think it was going to be that dusty. Luckily, this is only a 400-pound lathe and actually slides really easy on a dusty plywood floor. Works out pretty well. Only takes a minute or two to get things taken care of. All right. Now, I need to move a couple of goodies out of the way of the cart. What a mess. Somebody's going to have to come in here and clean this up when I get done today. I don't... Great time out here. And I felt like things went really well. And I have the cameras, the 3 cameras are recording themselves, as well as being recorded on Facebook, and I don't think the YouTube stream came together this morning. But 2 weeks ago, I forgot to turn all the cameras on to record, and it made me mad. So there it goes. Oh, I see. I need to look at... I always get confused when I look at the delay over on the monitor for Facebook. So let's get this in the right spot. We can zoom this one out a little bit. All right, get her squared up. My stage hands, you know, they're kind of slow sometimes, but this ought to do the trick, I do believe. All right, good deal. There's our bowl. Fantastic. If I can get this out of my way just a little bit more. Don't quite have enough room to sneak by the lathe, but I will in a second. There. Good deal. Good deal. What's a good food grade finish to apply, Mr. Dixon from Easy Wood Tools, sales manager? I got to call you today, by the way, buddy, if you're free. Good food grade finish. There's lots of marketed food grade finishes. A mineral oil is the simplest and cheapest. You go down to the pharmacy and get it. That won't hurt you in the least. Wax. Lots of people have different things that they think of. So, and that's a whole debate. I don't know if anybody here has strong opinions on food grade finishes. You actually cannot buy a non-safe food grade or non-safe finish today in the United States, according to say Bob Flexner, a finishing expert, because they took all the heavy metal dryers and stuff out of finishes. But the one thing about that, let me change camera so I can talk to you. The one thing about that, the way I understand it, and I do not profess to be a finish expert, is the finishes today do not have anything in them that will hurt you once they are cured. Even lacquer, polyurethane, once they're cured, they're inert. Now, while they're getting there, you could still get sick if you were to eat something out of it, because all the chemicals haven't outgassed yet. But that being said, there's a lot of different versions of food grade finishes out there. The oils, mostly it's an oil finish that people tend to like. I try not to address that one too much. I either use lacquer or wax or a poly, and I've been playing with a new poly from Chromacraft. It's a water-based poly, WR20. You don't even know it's a finish. It doesn't leave any kind of a film, even though it is a film finish. You don't see it It's a good barrier for doing things in between as well. Um, Lots of different things there. I don't want to get tied up on finishes too much, because you can. What about sanding? Well, Dick, I'm not going to sand this yet because I'm going to put it in resin. It'll get sanded when it's all said and done. Okay? Now, let's get me set up here, as I say. I've got my pressure pot over here. I want to double check before I get too far along that indeed my bucket is going to fit down in here, although I'm certain that it will. Perfectly. All right. Now, I don't exactly know how much resin I need for this, and I didn't want to go through the chore of measuring out, getting things wet, and displacing the water, then to figure it out. So I always just have, extra pieces around to cast in. Now, the bowl that I have planned, that is my casting bowl, okay? And you are looking at that, so let me take you to the overhead. And you'll see how close this fits down inside. So the amount of resin that will be waste on the inside is not dramatic. It's not a lot. I don't have a way easily. It's about a finger width, okay? So yeah, I'd like a perfect fit going in there, but that's not that much to give up on. And so I will fill below it, let it come over the rim, and fill inside. Or fill the inside and let it flow over until it fills up, until it's completely submerged. That's what will go in the pressure pot. It will fill all the holes. We'll put it under pressure. I thought about putting it in the vacuum chamber, but I didn't have a 5-gallon chamber open right now. I've only got a 2-gallon over there that's going. And I didn't want to pull one out of a box. I thought about putting it under vacuum and sucking the resin in even more, just as a extra precaution, but I don't think it's really necessary. So this is where we're going to be molding it in. It shouldn't float because it's pretty dense with the other resin in it now. It shouldn't float. I'm going to wipe this out again. I'm going to spray some mold release on this and let it be drying while I'm mixing up the resin. And I'm going to go with a quart. I don't have an exact idea, so I have a quart with me, and I brought another pint kit in case I run short. And I'm going to mix up, and this is where it comes to that question. Some people said some black, some people said gold. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a black with gold pearl in it, and a gold using the school bus yellow or yellow ochre, and some more gold pearl powder. And that's what's going to fill the holes. And I won't put it in evenly. I won't mix it all together. I will pour it in randomly, and that will allow some of it to get one color, some of it to get another color, and we'll get a bit of a random pattern. So I'm going to spray this way over here, away from me. That's my mold release on there. Okay, we'll just set that off back behind me and let it dry. Now I've got a couple of cups here for any overflow that I may end up with. These are the ones that have the built-in dovetails on them. Let me hit overhead and you'll see real quick. If I take it up here, can you see the dovetails? Try another way. Yeah, if I do it like that, you can see the built-in dovetails. So when you peel it off of there, you already have your tenon made. Okay? That one of them is from Panera, and this one is Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is high on our list. Bridget likes to get her iced coffee there. I do have a weakness for Baskin Robbins ice cream, which happens to come from Dunkin' Donuts as well. So we'll put this guy off to the side And I don't think we'll have this much left over, but just in case we do, we'll have 2 extra little molds to pour into there. Now my mixing bowl, which is now full of dust as well. I didn't plan too well ahead on the dust part of this, but we'll make it work out. Now one plan I do have, and you can't see obviously what's out there, but I am going to build a room within this room, just big enough, about 4 feet, 4 by 8, in the corner, where all these electronics that are currently getting slammed with wood turning dust and all will stay. So I'm going to take them out of this environment because it's it's a turning environment, and it makes it pretty nasty. So they're going to go into another room, and all I'll have out here is a remote control for the cameras and for the system, and that should work pretty well. I don't mind having a keyboard out here. Keyboards are pretty cheap if I have to do some keyboard stuff. All right, so we're going to mix our whole quart of resin in here, and then we'll split it out into some other cups, which are also dirty. And make our individual colors there. All right. Arthur says I need some dust. I got some dust. And it's good to see you, Arthur. Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's see here. Resin 101. Now that I have my little drawer here, I have things available to me ready at hand, so to speak. And we're going to mix this whole quart of Chromacraft. This is the LV 2000 LV. I always say LV 2000, but it's 2000 LV epoxy resin. You've seen me use it quite a bit. It is the slow cure. I've done a couple of episodes out here where, especially one of them, where I use the thermometer, the digital thermometer, infrared thermometer, to measure it. This is a slow cure, and this is why it's perfect for this project. It takes about 3 hours for it to really kick. 2 hours, it starts to set up. At 3 hours, it starts to cure, and it's a 24-hour cure in the pressure pot. So I can mix this, submerge this, and I know that if I do it right away, it's going to have a good solid 2 hours for the resin to permeate all these holes and voids in here and fill them up nicely. I mean, we'll get it all mixed up and put it in the mold, and we'll put it in the pot. But it's not going to start to kick, not going to start to set for a couple of hours. If I was using Alumilite, which in this humidity would be a nightmare, apparently it really doesn't like humidity, it would start to set up in 7 to 15 minutes, and we wouldn't get nearly the penetration. Nothing wrong with Alumilite, it's just a real fast-acting resin. So there's a lot of projects where I like having this extra time, and this is one of them. So let's get this going. We'll get this poured up. And then, like I say, if we have leftover, we'll pour some other fun things in there. Chromacraft sponsors me out on the road at the woodworking shows, and I use a quart for each show when I do the casting out there, and I'll be doing that again this year. And getting ready for the woodworking shows, starting to line up. I haven't submitted what I'm going to be doing, what the seminars are going to be, but I'm working on it. They should be out to the woodworking show by the end of October. That's when I told them I'd have them do them anyway, and they'll get those up on their website. And I'll be doing some promotionals for the woodworking show. Going to be giving away a variety of products, giveaways at the show this year. I have sweepstakes, coupons for different items. Going to do the VIP ticket. I'm going to be starting that real soon. If you remember 2 years ago, I did VIP tickets. So I have a registration online, and you can get your name in the hat, so to speak. So you get 2 tickets to any given show, and we'll be doing that giveaway. So that's a free trip. Saves somebody, if they're in the area, about $30. It's $14, I believe, to get in the show for the 3 days. And it's still $14 a piece, 3 days of woodworking, wood turning, shopping, education. You can't beat that. Even if you have to pay $5 or $10 to park, it's still cheap. I mean, we went and saw ZZ Top and Cheap Trick last week up in Augusta on a Tuesday night and sat in decent, but not nosebleed seats, but not front row, and it was $75 a piece. So $14 for 3 days of woodworking and wood turning, I think is a pretty good deal. I think that one's just about empty. Empty enough. We're going to put a cap on that. Set it off to the side. And Spidercraft will be at the woodworking shows with all its bells and whistles on. With the retail booth. Looking forward to that. Alright, here goes our hardener in. We'll get our whole batch mixed up. Hardener comes out nice and easy. I think I'll bring my paper towel over. Paper towels. I'll use my special whisk that I like to use. A little bit of a soft, flimsy bowl. A little more flexible than I had anticipated. But we'll get her mixed up. I always buy cheap plastic bowls down at the dollar store or Dollar General or impulse aisles. Whenever anything plastic that I can play with for resin molding, and it's cheap, under $1 or less is my give you overhead, my limit on a piece of plastic to be disposable. So I use this whisk from Dollar Tree to do my stirring. And with this slow cure resin, if we wanted to degas this, we could drop it in the vacuum chamber and pull the air bubbles out of it, pull the air out of it without any trouble. We have that option in working time with these slower set resins. It's taking me a minute to get this. I didn't know this bowl was quite so flexible. It's a real flexi flyer. In theory, it would make a good mold because it'd be easy to peel off of something. I got a little fleck of something in there, but I'm not worried about it. By the time we get done adding colorants to these, it won't be an issue. So I'll go back to out front here, looking for any questions over there. Let's see what's going on. Okay, it's all good. I will work on the YouTube part. I've got to get that working to get this going up there live. I've had it work. I've had it do its thing. But when then I go to do it live, it doesn't seem to quite click. And I've only got like 3 platforms running to make this happen. I could be streaming on my personal page as well right now. I have a multi-platform streaming service. I just got to figure out how to work it. Alright, we're starting to get there. We're going to let that sit for a minute. Make sure these are clean. And I think I'm going to put a third one over here because that's a quart and these are 16 ounces. They might get full, so just in case, I don't want to have them full slapped to the top. So I have a third one ready just in case we need it. And give this a little more mixing. And then I'm going to bring the colors over and start thinking about colors. Going to be fun. I've got my colors here and my powders over here. I have pearlescent gold, silver, iridescent gold. Those are pearl powders. And then I just have black resin tint and the yellow oxide for my gold. And I have I should have some yellow down in here. Yeah. So I may alter that with a little bit of, if there's any left in it, a little bit of yellow to brighten it up, if need be. Okay, so those are colors. I'm going to shake these up really good. I'm letting that resin sit there just a little bit. The yellow is covered in green dye. And let's see if we can get in here. We are out of gloves. I lose everything. I buy a whole box of gloves and then I can't find them. Oh well. Alright, let's give this one more good mix. Because one of the biggest reasons for problems with your resin is not thoroughly being mixed. I had a gentleman come up to me at Turning Southern Style at the symposium, and he said he was using this product, and he had trouble. It wouldn't set up for him. I got dust in my hair, don't I? Don't want to get that in the resin. And he said, yeah, I did exactly like I was supposed to. I measured it precisely, you know, by weight, 2 to 1. And I said, well, the problem there is that this mixes by volume. And there is a difference between mixing by volume and by weight. And you want to be sure and read the label instructions on the resin to see if you're supposed to mix it by volume, if you're supposed to mix it by weight. Makes a big difference. It will make it either not work, or at least not work very well. Okay. Like I said, we got a few chips of wood coming off of my hair, and that's alright in the big picture of this. And I don't have my cardboard for my tabletop today, so I will just clean it up later on. Stick this over here. We'll just save that one in case we need that. And I will put down a couple paper towels as preventative, since I haven't gotten my plastic top for this table yet. Okay. We'll get underneath here. I'll go to the overhead for you. This thing we can actually bend into a funnel almost. And I'll go to top of the writing on that one, the word daisy. And let's see. Okay, that gets the top of daisy. So I think I can go ahead and make this even in both of these and not have any, not have to have a second or a third container. There we go. All good. We'll drain this one into that one a little bit more. And when this sets up in this little flexible bowl, I may just go ahead and throw it away. Or I may keep it. You never know. You never know. But we'll set it out of the way. Now, one's going to be black with some gold in it, and the other's going to be gold and gold iridescent in it. So let's start with the black first. And I need to get my magic mixers here. I just use a screwdriver, whatever I have around. I'm not real particular for my mixing. As long as I wipe it off, it's all good. Don't cross-contaminate the colors or anything. Alright. Black is a real strong color. It doesn't take a lot. That's basically 3 drops, and let's see what we get here. I can make it a very opaque black, or I can leave it as a translucent black. I'm going to leave it somewhat translucent because I'm going to put the gold gems in it, or not gems, spin gems is what I was thinking. The gold pearlescent powders. So I want to have enough black in it to get them to show. They need a color to bounce off of. Let's call that 5 drops. But I don't want it to be obscuring. And you can kind of look at your stir stick and see where you're at. And I think I'm going to also, on the black I had planned a little bit of silver. And I have my little spoon. Mom, if you're still here, thank you, Mom, for the little spoon. I'm going to put a little silver pearl powder in this black as well. I'm going to put 2 spoons of silver in here. Into that black. Now remember, we're mixing more resin than we need, and all this is going to be really doing is filling these holes. And like I said again, we're going to pour it in different portions of the mold, so we will get hopefully different colors. And we won't know what we really get until we turn the resin away. So the extra resin, once it's on there and it's cured and all that, I don't think I'll save it for next week unless you want me to, but I may go ahead and turn it during the week and just post the pictures so we can get on to another project, which might be finishing it, sanding and polishing it or something like that. So I've got a little silver and black in there. Let me zoom in so you can see that a little bit. Oop, wrong way. This is where you can start to see how there's that little black silver shimmer in there along with the black. Okay, now I want to add an iridescent gold to this. Clean off my spoon. Okay. This is a little bit of iridescent gold. So gold is kind of an underlying theme of this. Okay. And I know we're going to use that again in the other one. I'll leave that open. We'll stir this in and see what we get. Just a hint. I don't want it to be real strong, just a hint of the gold in there. Okay. Alright, we're going to let that one sit. And I'll wipe off my screwdriver stirrer here. So we're all clean and good to go. And for our yellow, like I said, we're going with the yellow oxide. For our gold, we're going to use this to make gold. I wonder if they got a cap in here. Nope. Just something in the top. Got to poke something through there real quick. That should do it. You know, there's a million shades of gold and all that. So, put a little bit of that in. And I'm going to put a little bit of yellow. Okay, we'll mix that before we put any pearls to it. Let me move this over so you can see it. There we go. Now that doesn't look like a bad gold. I'm looking for, what do you think? Is that a decent gold? Should I go lighter? Should I go darker? Anybody got an opinion? Y'all don't care? I'd say that's a yellow gold. if you ask me. Like I say, there's 1,000,001 different shades of gold. Alright, I know I'm going to close those up. I don't think I'm going to put any more of that in. Now, I'm also going to add 2 pearl powders to this. I'm going to add straight gold pearl powder and then iridescent gold pearl powder. So 2 spoons of regular gold pearl powder. Okay. Close those. Always close these back up, because if you knock them over, you got dust everywhere. Good color gold, Peter. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. I thought it was pretty good, especially with this, with the powder in it now. I think it's coming into its own. A little light on that. All right. And let's stir that in. And so these 2 colors being dramatically different, let's assume that we have some left over when we get done pouring around our wood piece. This black and this gold, black with gold and the gold, will make a nice pour into one of our backup, auxiliary molds for us. I like that. Art, does that look like honey? If you're still here, does that look like honeybee honey? Art raises bees. Has the best honey in the world. Gives me a bottle every year when I see him in New Jersey. It is so good. I appreciate it, Art. Scrape the sides down real good, and I'm going to stir the black again before we go to pouring. Drain that off. Give the black a good one more stir. Paper towel. I'm so happy it has cooled off here for me now. I can actually starting to get some of the yard work done. Some of the trees and bushes cut, because it's not 100 degrees out there. Happens a little bit out of the camera, but move it over. Okay. It does. All right, so I passed the honeybee honey color with a master. What's the technical name, Art, for someone who is a beekeeper? Is there a real actual? I mean, I got to be some kind of a name other than just being a beekeeper. I know lots of people, that I've known for years, or over the years, that keep bees, and I was wondering what the name might be for someone who keeps bees. All right, we can put our spoon away. We can put our colorants away. We're all good there. And it's time for our mold. All right. This will be interesting too, because it's a snug fit down into the 5-gallon pot, which I'll pull up here in a few minutes. Get these. I don't think anything dripped. So let me zoom out so you can see this going on. Okay. So that you get a good idea. I'd ask you how to pronounce that. Apparitist. Okay. So you can see this is the height of our mold, and obviously the bowl is down about this level, the top of the bowl. Okay. So we're not going to be filling this entirely, and we're only going to fill inside just what we need to. I got to use my fancy slider T-bar on that one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this. Oh, stop. Stop the presses. I got to find if I have what I wanted to show you. My Play-Doh. I want to save the tenon. I don't want to fill the tenon, and I can't find my Play-Doh. I couldn't find it this morning. Maybe it finally gave up the ghost on me. So what I want to do, let me try and explain this to you. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. The tenon area here, I want to keep the same tenon so that the bowl chucks up perfectly round to the way it's turned right now. So what I was going to plan to do is I fill this with Play-Doh. So I can cast, the resin will flow up to it, but I'd be able to chip through that little bit of layer and peel the Play-Doh away from right in here, and I would have my tenon just like it is now. But I can't find my Play-Doh. I know, sounds like a personal problem, doesn't it? I can't find my Play-Doh. So I don't know what else I might attempt to do here. What I might do, because Play-Doh works great, you know, and I had it over here and I had it over in the other shop. And I got that whole concept from the chemist, and I'm just not seeing it anywhere. Let's see what stopgap measure might work. Let's see, tape. I wouldn't count on it, but I might try it anyway. I got some wicked duct tape here, so I may try running a band of wicked duct tape, real thin, around on this. Let me switch back over while I'm monkeying about this. So Play-Doh would be the perfect thing, or modeling clay. You could fill that groove and not let the resin get into it. So I'm going to set this down for a second and see if I can't stretch this, if it'll stick. And it may not do what I want. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll deal with it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It won't be the first time that I had a little snafu. Because I know that it's going to get turned, this bottom's going to get turned away, so I'm not worried about a little bit here and there. I know this looks makeshift, because it is. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But the whole idea is to keep that tenon from having to be returned, if you follow me. Alright, and I'm going to cover the bottom of the tenon so that resin doesn't get into impregnate that wood at all. Oh, I see what you're saying, Dick. You could turn it upside down, and I thought about that. My concern is that I might have an air bubble in the center that didn't let something get filled. I'm completely with you on the concept and the idea. I did think about that. But I'm concerned about it not filling all the way up on the inside, because it might make a bubble. I don't know. So I'm going to go with this. I mean, I know I can resurrect it. Again, this is a little crude, but if it's effective enough to where I can get it turned and get free, Get a chuck on it, then I'll be all good. Because I know my dad watched, if he's still here, did a demonstration at turning Southern style, and I had cast the piece just like this, and I didn't do that. I didn't do anything to secure the definition of the tenon. So when I turned it, the bowl wasn't centered in the resin, and I had one side that was showing daylight, and the other side was still a ½ an inch thick. So it wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but it made for a good tense audience. They thought it was going to blow up. All right, I'm going with that. That's cobbed up enough. I'll live with that. I'll let you know how it turns out. All right, back in the box, back in the bowl. All right, and get you back to the overhead so you can see it pour in. All right. So I've got enough room. I'm going to center it in here. It's going to move. I know it's going to move when I drop it down in the pot. But what I want to do is pour. Not on the table. Say black off to that side. We still don't know if we're going to have enough when we mix this. And we'll pour gold over here on this side. And again, I may end up mixing another pint. I can see that it looks like I'm going to mix a pint, which is not the end of the world. Okay. And if that next pint isn't enough over in the shop, I have another gallonish. So we're not floating at all, but we are short. So we're going to set this off to the side. We're going to mix up another batch of resin in that infamous pink bowl. And then we'll duplicate these color patterns very closely. There we go. So that's why I brought extra, just in case. I agree with you, Dick, if I had holes going through the bottom, but I don't. There's no holes in the very bottom where the tenon is. So that's where my concern is. I could have drilled a hole in the bottom, made it have a place to chase the air out. Indeed. Now I'm going to have to pull all those colors back out. And hustle to be done by noon. Oh, I think I can make it. I got 20 minutes. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Watch me come up a pint short. Be my luck. I'll run next door and grab some more if I am. All right. And part B. Mixy mix. Zach Higgins, I don't know how many of you guys follow him. He cast a jack-o'-lantern, a pumpkin, out of one of the plastic candy pumpkin things for the kids on his the stream recently, and I was watching, and he had done the math in one fashion, and he had his resin mixed, and then he started to question whether or not he had calculated it right. And he was using like a gallon of resin of aluminite, and he's like, God, I hope I did this right. And he started to wonder, and I can't remember if he ended up having to make a little bit more or not. But he was in the same boat. He didn't want to get everything all wet to figure out the volume of the fluid, and so he just he did his math the best he could. He used a formula that got him close, and I think what it was is he was going to be short, and he bumped up his volume before he started mixing, and got it to come out just about right, where he just didn't run out. Okay, we'll put this guy away. And we'll pour this into our 2 containers. We were black and gold like that. So, some over here. Some over here. Back to the black. This won't take but a few minutes to mix up another batch. It doesn't have to obviously be exactly the same as what was there before. And the other thing I could do would be to put another bowl in there and displace what's inside. And I didn't quite have one that would do what I wanted to, although I may do it anyway so I don't quite have nearly as much. It's not as thick. I think I will do that after I get this filled. All right. Little black for here. Yellow. And yellow. That one's getting low. It's going to be a little bit more yellow. And then our powders. Little silver for the black. Doo-doo. Not a breath of breeze outside today now. It's getting sticky all of a sudden. And gold goes in just this one. Just do 1 scoop in that. And then iridescent gold goes in both. Do-do-do. I'll be a glitter mess down at the Mexican restaurant today. One of those. One of those. Alright, and I am going to use, am I going to use that? That'll be a mess. I'll have to put something in it. Oh, I can do that. I got a plan. No, I don't. I'm talking to myself. Let me think that one through for a second. About displacement. So we're mixing. Let me get you to the overhead to see the mix again. That is pretty close to our one from before. What I'll do is if I don't have enough for it to fill to the rim, I will displace it. I'll stick that pink bowl in there. And if I have to put something in here to hold that pink bowl down, that pink bowl is going to want to float. That will displace it so it's not so thick in the middle, and I don't have to do so much turning to get rid of that excess resin. So we'll clean that guy off real quick. Let's mix up our black. Black and silver with a hint of gold in it there. All right. All good. I think I have stuff to clean off the table today. I see my resin getting through my paper towel. But it's a work table. It's okay. Back to finish pouring this off now. Let's see how this goes. So we did black on the left. Yellow on the right. Question is this thing starting to float on me? Yes, it is. Okay. So I actually have enough. I bet you I have enough resin in here. And I push that down. Perfect. Okay. So that takes me right to the very, very top. I know it's hard for you to see, but that pushes the piece down. And I'm going to put just a little bit more resin in there. Now I'm going to have to weight this down. Okay? And then we're going to have a little bit left over. So I'm mixing it backwards there. A little bit of yellow over on the black side. And a little bit of black over on the yellow side. Alright. And there's some resin. There's resin already in there. And where did I put my weight chuck? I have an old Barracuda that I've been using as my sacrificial weight. It's over next door in the workshop. So I'm making this up really quick as I go. I need something really heavy. So I'm going to take and get this one way in here. Put it in plastic, which will keep it from getting any resin on it. It'll just get on the bag, and that will weight my bowl down in the middle, which will make our displacement. Where am I at here? Oh, sorry about that. It's a little tight. There we go. So I just put a chuck in a plastic bag, and that will be my weight to push down the pink bowl. Alright, so that's in a plastic bag. And that will displace my resin perfectly now. Alright. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to push that over there. And I'll zoom the overhead in here for you. So, though I don't know that you can see, but it just is covering the rim. Just is covering the rim. When you're under fire, it's fun. You have to think quick. So you can see the rim is just wrong side. That's right there. I probably have an 1/8 of an inch of resin over top of the rim of the piece. All right. So that's good. We're set for that. It's going to work just fine. Come back out with that. Slide this guy over here for a minute, and since we have resin left over, we have one of our pre-made or pre-readied pieces. We'll just make a little extra casting here of black and gold. It's already got mold release in it. It'll just be some little project, but it won't go to waste. Bottle stopper, you know, who knows? So we won't have wasted any resin whatsoever from what we built in our previous project. Now this one I won't put in the pressure pot, and I'll bet you I don't have any bubbles in it because of the slow cure. If I had a piece of wood in there or something, I would definitely have it in the pressure pot, but I believe I'll just let this one sit out and do its own thing. Okay. So there we have a yellow and black. If you can see that. And here, let me hit you from the side. There we go. So we have our yellow and black inside the Dunkin' Donuts cup, and those colors will blend together because of the open time, and that's okay. Alrighty. And there we go. Alright, so now it's time to get this guy in the pressure pot and wrap this all up. So let me get this guy out of the way. Put him over here. We'll clean this mess up when the day is over here in a few minutes. Get our pressure pot up on the table, like so. Zoom out a little bit more. So here's the tricky part. It's a long way down in there, but my bowl is bigger, or big enough, but I'm going to kind of have to just, and it's heavy. The trick is going to be getting it in there. I may have to put this down where I can get low on it. I lied to you. I'm going to have to put this down on the floor so I can drop that down in there. Because even if I had the basket for it, it wouldn't be able to go. There we go. Okay, now I can pick it back up. I just had to get it down a little bit lower. So you can see we're in there. Ooh, I got a loose wheel there. Everything's good. We'll get this all centered up. Alright. So that it's nice and even. Doesn't matter where the purple bowl is in the big bowl, as long as the pink bowl is centered in the purple bowl. So that we don't have too much unevenness in our resin. That looked pretty centered. Looks centered from where I'm seeing it. Alright. And let's pop the top on here. I absolutely love this pressure pot. This is the California Air pressure pot Spirocraft carries. It comes out of the box ready to go. Fittings, the gauges. Of course, I left one hose. Let me see what I got here. No, I haven't used it in a while. Do I have a fitting? Did I steal a fitting? I stole a fitting. I'm going to have to put air to it. Well, I can put air to it in a little bit. I'll have to go get I stole a fitting off of here for the vacuum chamber the other day. I don't know why, but I did. But that's not going anywhere. I don't have to worry about the time with the setup or anything like that because it's got plenty of time. So I'll take the air hose to it, put 70 pounds in it. She'll be ready to go. She'll cure it'll start to cure in about 3 hours. That resin will start to kick for that amount of mass. It'll be cured in 24 hours. I'll take it out tomorrow. I'll post some picture of it in its raw form when it comes out on Spirocraft page, my personal page, and show you what it looked like. It is, what is it? It's about 3 minutes till. Hey, I'm right on time. I'm running on time today. Amazing. So I'll look for any questions over here. I appreciate everybody coming in today. Hope you enjoyed it, seeing that stabilized resin piece being turned and the beautiful colors under that. So think about it in your mind now. When I return this and it comes out, we take all that extra resin away. You've got all those beautiful black colors from the spalting and the ambrosia streaks, and just all those holes will be filled with either this yellow or yellow gold pearlescent or the black pearlescent just in those holes. Should be an interesting piece. I know it's going to be pretty. It's going to be really pretty. That's going to be fun. Now, if you guys want to see me turn it, I don't mind, and maybe we'll make that next week. To go ahead and turn that down. Probably should. I'm thinking as I'm speaking, and I think maybe I will make that next week's Monday method. We'll go ahead and turn that piece. So I'll save it. I'll show you what it looks like in pictures, but I'll save that, and we'll turn that piece next week, so you can see the full process. All right. So that's my plan. We will turn this next Monday on Monday Methods, and that'll be the reveal, if you will. We'll see what we got, see how it came out. So I'm checking for any questions. I don't see any more new questions. I'll wait just a minute or two and see if anything pops up. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me. I have a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it. Shoot me a note, send me an email. Let me know what you think. I'm having fun. I hope you are too. And Arthur says thank you. Thank you, Arthur. I appreciate that very much. Looking forward to seeing you here in a few months. And I'll go ahead and wrap this up. And next week, hopefully I'll be starting smoother. I always say that, don't I? There's always something for me. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day. And I'm going to change the channel like that. And we will end our stream.